Morning, thank you for inviting me this morning. It's lovely to see you all. In December 2015, my life changed in an instant. I was attending my outdoor boot camp when an incident that occurred changed my life for the next 9 years. The boot camp was in an old Victorian playground which has sunk down below land level. A gang of young males climbed a nearby tree and one of them threw a brick down from above at us, a group. Unfortunately, the brick struck me on the left-hand temple at extreme force. It knocked me unconscious, and when I came to, I was being rushed into Arrow Park Hospital. I was there until the early hours while I was investigated for a fractured skull and interviewed by the police. The consensus was that my injury was the equivalent to being hit with force around the head with a cricket bat, and I was extremely lucky not to have damaged my skull or to have died. I was extremely unwell with a concussion for the following week. I had never had one before, so I had nothing to compare it to. I had to attempt to sleep sat up. I couldn't lie down due to the swelling on the left-hand side of my head. I suffered with sickness, blinding headaches, dizziness. I felt confused and struggled to complete basic tasks. I returned to work, but over the next few months, life became impossible. I would zone out in the middle of conversations, collapse with crippling head pain. I couldn't sleep and suffered with horrendous insomnia. My vision was blurred and I felt sick or was sick daily. My colleagues and family likened my state to a stroke some days. I was that ill. I was unable to drive and was barely managing my full-time job. I was brought home almost daily for months after becoming too ill to continue with my day. I visited the GP weekly and at one point daily to beg for help. I repeatedly asked if this was connected to the bang on the head because I felt everything had changed following that day. I was sent home every time with a different prescription and a different diagnosis. After 6 months, life was unbearable. I had no progress with any diagnosis. I had become extremely anxious due to the pain and the horrendous side effects of these occurrences and the medication. My employer at the time was so concerned about my health, they paid privately for me to see a neurologist. I was referred by my GP in the June, 6 months after the incident. I met with my neurologist in the Spire Hospital and took my diary, which had become to resemble the ramblings of a possessed person. The diary was pages and pages of me trying to understand the link to my episodes. I listed food, drinks, activities, and the side effects of these episodes. Within 12 minutes, I had an informal diagnosis of chronic migraine syndrome. My consultant explained that my condition was common in victims of head-on car collisions and serious head injuries. I undertook various tests and an MRI scan at a follow-up appointment, which then gave me my formal diagnosis. I was started on a treatment pathway which consisted of trying a wide variety of drugs to ascertain which one worked for me. Some of the drugs had multi-purposes and unfortunately carried some horrendous side effects. I had it explained to me I needed to travel through the treatment pyramid, as they called it, to ascertain what worked for me. I had several terrifying incidents happen to me. I blacked out on public transport. I collapsed in the park while walking our dog and came to sometime later covered in mud and soaking wet from the rain. I was unable to drive, unable to use public transport alone, and was forced into using taxis carrying a certificate stating who I was, where I lived, and who to call in the event of me becoming incapacitated. Life became a daily battle. I fought to get out of bed in the morning. I fought to get to sleep at night. I struggled to know what to eat because I was sick so much. I ballooned in weight due to the various medications. I felt so ill I barely had time to acknowledge I was depressed. However, in hindsight, I most definitely was. I became very isolated as I couldn't join in any social arrangements and I didn't want to leave the house. Over time, I found through trial and error and with the support of my employer's occupational health team that I could manage to in work with extensive adjustments. I also found that chiropractic work on my neck, back and shoulders would minimise my condition for a period of time. At one point, I was visiting twice a week to try and stave off the side effects. This was very costly and very time consuming. In the background, I had an ongoing court case due to the injury, which was a constant cause of stress, as I was literally just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Following a particularly horrendous experience with a cerebral nerve block, I decided to remove myself from the treatment pyramid. I made significant adjustments to my life. I changed my job, ensuring I worked closer to home with less stress. I adopted a more holistic approach and accepted the circumstances and the episodes that followed. During an Alpha course I attended in July 2024 with Liz and Colin, I had to excuse myself due to my migraines on occasions. The issue with chronic migraine is that every day you experience a migraine of some sort in some form, and some days are more manageable than others. Colin and Liz asked if they could pray for me on one such occasion, and I agreed. I'm always open-minded, but in all honesty, after 9 years of dealing with the condition, I had no expectations at all. Colin and Liz, plus the Alpha Troop, prayed and laid hands on me. It was the most surreal experience. I almost felt drunk. I had so many different emotions, my head fell back and I needed to sit down and drink water. Col messaged me the following week to see how I was. I couldn't text, I wanted to call him, but I couldn't because I knew I'd cry and he would think something was wrong. Since they prayed that night, I'd not had any symptoms. The constant pain, severe migraine causes, the tinnitus, the sickness, it had all stopped. I genuinely couldn't believe it. I wasn't experiencing migraines anymore, not in the sense I had been. I was able to relax and enjoy life's little moments for the first time in years. It almost felt like a huge weight had been lifted off my shoulders. I started to sleep better than I had in years. My chiropractor dropped me from my bi-weekly appointment to a 6 to 8 week appointment, as I had no need to attend that frequently. I was able to start exercising again and enjoy the simple pleasures in life, like a long walk, without worrying about how I was going to feel later that day or the next. I've joined a gym and managed to lose 2.5 stone so far. Another step in getting back to being me again. They say God moves in mysterious ways, and I truly believe that. If I hadn't become the housing officer for this area with my previous company, if I hadn't felt the calling to come here to link in with Kings to support my tenants, I would never have met Colin and Liz and all of you. I was truly blessed that day, and I've had a blessing bestowed on me and my faith renewed. Thank you.